Talk about the growth of Fred Brown, particularly over the last 2 games offensively.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my challenge as a basketball coach is to continue to get Fred to understand the team concepts defensively. You know, last year he was a major defensive liability if you put him in a basketball game. I don't think there's a question that he can score the basketball. I think everyone has seen enough of him that he's got the ability to score. You know, but he was a major defensive liability. And now he's not a major defensive liability, but he still gets lost at times. And it's my challenge as his basketball coach to get him to continue to grow there. And then offensively, I'll tell you what he's real good at. When you call his number, he gets open, you know. But when the number's not called for him, he tends to get lost in the shuffle. And he needs to understand how to play within the framework of the offense when it's not on him.
Good time for an early road game?
Not just a road game, a very hard road game. You know, it's I like playing. I like being challenged. I don't like things being easy. I told the team, you know, that there were a lot of guys that were 20-0 when they stepped into the ring with Mike Tyson, but they had never been challenged. And the first time they got hit, they went down. You know, and I like our team to get challenged. I mean, you know, I'm not comfortable till somebody punches me in my mouth. When I get punched in the mouth, then that's when I settle down and get comfortable, because now I understand what I'm dealing with. And it's kind of, you know, that way for us as a basketball team, you know, going to Cleveland State. You know, we're getting ready to get punched in the mouth. And part of our maturation, our growth as a basketball team, our development with leadership, this challenge is only going to make that better for us.
What happened with Benny in the first half?
He's stubborn and I'm stubborn. Two stubborn people collide.
Does that happen often, Frank?
What's that?
You and Clemente.
You wouldn't be on the team.
Coach, you guys went on a 26-7 run in the last 10 minutes. Could you just assess your team's play, what you saw at that point?
In the last 10 minutes of the game?
In the last 10 minutes of the game, 26-7 run at one point.
You know, it's like I said, our defensive pressure early in the game, we didn't do the things defensively we talked about doing, you know, and I think we made a run somewhere in the middle of the first half where it went from a tie game to us up 15. You know, there was a middle segment there in the first half. You know, if we would have made our 1- and 2-foot shots that we missed in the first 6-7 minutes of the game, you know, it's a little different. But you know, we went into halftime in a little bit of a lull because of how we finished the first half. You know, and that's when I say I'm glad we were challenged and our guys were put in tough situations. You know, even with Dennis, you know, he didn't play well the first half. He understood I didn't like the way he played. I think my message to him was loud and clear with what happened. Well, he comes out the second half and he plays like a champ. You know, he doesn't come out there and pout and complain, you know. That's what we need, you know, and I think the last 10 minutes of the game, you know, I don't really know what the score was. I guess it was 26-7, you know, but it's part of the growth, and it's part of the growth.
Coach, we've seen a lot of different sets tonight. This early in the season, it's good to see how everyone works together and is able to score together and defend together.
Well, you see, Mark, am I not entertaining you today?
I'd very well like to learn from you.
Jeez.
Don't say anything good.
You know, I'm one of those guys. I believe offensively. Think about it. You guys are all in this room just like me. We've been at every one of our games. We're nowhere near what we can be offensively yet. We're so vanilla and so simple. We're averaging 4 points a game. Not particularly shooting the ball well outside of Freddie Brown. You know, as we continue to clean up our offense and guys continue to learn to play within the framework that we're putting in there, then what I like to do is when guys start scoring the basketball, run different things that continue to milk that cow while it's still going there. And we tried to do that a little. I hadn't done that all year. I tried to do that a little bit in the first half today, and we saw us do different things to continue to find Fred when he was making shots. And, you know, I tried to do it for Jake. I just wanted him to make a shot so he felt better about himself because he was down because his shots weren't going down. So I kept running stuff to try to get him some shots. And, you know, but it's kind of who we want to be. You know, it's offensively we want to attack, and when somebody's got a hot hand, we want to ride it as long as we can.
How big a part of it is for you've had a few games where you're maybe not making a lot of shots, but that defense seems to be something that can really make up for some of those nights.
Well, that's who we should be. You know, Denny and Jacob combined for absolutely 0 points in the first half. We scored 40. You know, it's you know, it's just one of those deals that we have to continue to defend. We cannot accept, and we talked about this last year. You guys heard me say it, and now it's this year's team, and it's something that happens with every year, every basketball team. If we were a conservative defensive basketball team, a team that plays passively, defensively, then missing shots doesn't hurt you as much as when you're pressing a team that wants to come after people, you know, and that's your challenge as a basketball team, is to continue to find your identity, continue to find who you are, and regardless of what happens during the course of the game, stay with your game plan. And we've been good at times, and there are other times we haven't been as good, but luckily, hopefully, we get to play about 34, 35 games, so, you know, that by then, you know, we'll have that figured out.
Coach, I'm a Memphis guy, so I understand free throws or what they mean in a game. And can you assess your team's struggles so far at the stripe?
I think there's one guy that's really struggling, and that's Jamar. I don't think as a team, I think Ron Anderson is 2 for 4 or something like that today. You know, Jacob missed a free throw because he's just so down on himself. You know, you're talking about somebody who went 10 for 10 with 13,000 people going absolutely bonkers in here last year against Kansas. You know, Clemente was 9 for 10 in the Florida A&M game, I think it was. You know, I don't want to say I'm worried with Jamar, you know, but when you've got a young kid that misses shots like that, you start getting a little concerned about his psyche, about his makeup when he goes to that line. And you know, but I've got confidence in him. He's a strong-willed person, and he'll start making those free throws. And if we have Memphis's problems, I think we'll all be very happy.